Good morning. I would like to briefly reflect on something which should concern all of us. We are only 5.5 years away from the 21st century. Much has been written and speculated on the impact which the beginning of a new century has on the behavior and creativity of the people and nations of the world. But our vision of this next turn of the century, more than ever, is very clear. We will begin an era of great global interdependence involving rich and poor, in which productivity will be based on new work strategies driven by technology. Our 1994 video conference series on new and proven management systems was designed to help us in the urgent task of introducing innovation and organizational change to our work environments, to be able to survive an intense international competition which we are beginning to experience today, with strong economic, social, and even political dynamics. The video conferences on the topics of total quality management, organizational change, and team building that we have transmitted this year should not be considered simple seminars on traditional management science. In reality, they have been proposals for you to consider the application of various interrelated concepts that altogether represent a new technology for resource management, one which will be quite common in the 21st century, I can assure you. We must therefore make a commitment to initiate in our workplace a continuous effort through which we will all open our minds and will to these new ways of doing business. Today, our video conference on the topic Just in Time will give special emphasis to the value of the creative potential which we all have as humans within our organizations. But let's not forget the very unique responsibility which falls particularly on our leaders and administrators due to the fact that generally the impact and multiplier effect of their decisions and actions tends to far surpass that of the professional or modest worker in the line of duty. Let's project our work with a strategic vision, not with more planning or other exercises, more useful where the future seems very uncertain. When our vision of the future is clear, we must plan and reflect less. We must act more. Our next video conference, scheduled for the month of October, will elaborate more on this important theme. Many other management terms and concepts, a few somewhat esoteric, are now emerging, some of which have generated already documented positive results in a number of work environments. Re-engineering, total productive maintenance, empowerment are just a few of these. They all tend to use a systems approach to focus on some specific key concepts often forgotten within our organizations. We will be discussing further these themes in future video conferences. I wish you all my very best. Thank you.
We are transmitting live from San Diego, California, from the studios of KPBS on the campus of San Diego State University. Greetings to our participants in Mexico, Colombia, Paraguay, and other Latin American countries. We would also like to welcome our distinguished friends at the Organization of American States in Washington, D.C. Welcome to the program Just in Time, the fourth video conference in the series Management Systems for the 21st Century. I am Armando Osorio, your moderator for this teleconference. We would like to remind the coordinators at each receiving site to collect the attendance sheets for your site and to return them to the International Training Center as soon as possible. At this time, you should also return to us a list of names of participants interested in obtaining the certificate. It is now my pleasure to present to you our distinguished guest, George Zalatan. Mr. Zalatan is a recognized international expert and consultant in the field of just-in-time, with more than 20 years of experience in working on productivity and efficiency improvement programs in large multinational corporations such as General Electric and Caterpillar. As divisional director at the company Solar Turbines, Mr. Zalatan has directed work teams to simplify systems and procedures and has implemented innovative methods of just-in-time technology, transforming the company into a world-class organization. Currently, he is responsible for implementing ISO 9000 standards at Solar Turbines. Welcome, Mr. Zalatan. Before you begin your presentation, I would like to ask you the following question. What do you believe are the key elements for just-in-time success?
First of all, it's extremely important that top management believe in the just-in-time concepts, that they understand these concepts themselves very well, and that they integrate these concepts into their overall strategy for the business. Second, the culture of the company must be ready for change. The culture must be ready to accept new ideas, new ways of doing business, and especially the culture has to be ready to accept the concept that there must be a customer focus in everything you do, in every aspect of the business. A third key element is that there must be a commitment to ongoing training in these just-in-time concepts and ongoing learning. And once people learn, they must be given an opportunity to use their new knowledge in their day-to-day jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Zalatan. Now, we would like to begin with the first part of Mr. Zalatan's presentation today.
It is a great honor for me to be invited back to share just-in-time thinking with you. Let me begin by reviewing why there is so much interest in just-in-time around the world and reviewing some of the key principles of just-in-time thinking. As we all know, a whole new global economy is evolving. Competitive survival in this changing world requires innovation and the willingness to accept new ways of thinking. We have many challenges ahead of us. To compete, we need to learn to put strategies in place that are practical, realistic, achievable, and have a long-term focus. But most importantly, we need to focus on and adopt strategies that really work. One strategy that definitely fits this criteria is just-in-time. Because of the amazing gains just-in-time thinking makes possible, companies that adopt just-in-time are achieving dramatic successes. Just-in-time companies are achieving shorter lead times, higher quality, lower cost, lower inventories, and quicker delivery responses. These achievements are creating significant competitive advantages for those companies adopting just-in-time thinking. How are these companies achieving these amazing results? To understand how this is happening, we first need to understand what is meant by the term just-in-time. Even with the abundance of literature that has been published on the subject, considerable confusion still surrounds the term just-in-time. Ask any two managers just what just-in-time is, and you are likely to get wildly different answers. Just-in-time is a strategy to continuously improve quality and productivity through respect for people, elimination of waste, and achieving speed in all work processes. To review what just-in-time thinking is, let's focus on some of the key phrases in the just-in-time definition. The first of these key phrases is continuously improve quality and productivity. The old management thinking was that if we wanted to improve quality, we had to choose between either higher quality or high productivity. We were taught that it was not possible to achieve high quality and high productivity simultaneously. This misguided thinking had been a major roadblock to improve quality in the past. We have now gotten a lot smarter. We have now learned that there is no need for trade-off thinking between quality and productivity. We have learned that it is possible to achieve both simultaneously. Unfortunately, most of us had to learn this lesson the hard way from our competition, especially Japanese competition. The Japanese were the first to truly embrace this new thinking. How did the Japanese get so good? Why do you suppose so many of us buy their products? Some people think that they are unfair competitors. The real reasons we buy their products are because their products work better and the price is right. From a consumer's point of view, there is nothing unfair about high-quality, low-cost products. The Japanese were taught by an American, Dr. Edward Deming, in the early 50s that high quality and high productivity can be achieved simultaneously. I want to share with you one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Deming. As quality increases, productivity increases. This fact is well known, but only to a select few. Unfortunately, most of us were not that initial select few that understood and accepted this thinking. The next key phrase in our just-in-time definition, elimination of waste. Just-in-time thinking drives us to eliminate waste in all of our business environments. Essentially, any resource that is not actively involved in a process that adds value to your product or service is waste. For example, the value-added activities most businesses perform include marketing products, designing products, producing parts, assembling these parts into finished products, and providing aftermarket services for customers. Waste exists in all aspects of the business. All of the activities that don't add value to the products and services we offer our customers are considered waste. This includes activities such as most forms of administration, many of the reports we produce, all inspection, all storage and wait time, all movement of material from one operation to another, non-productive meetings, inefficient processes, poor scheduling, bad quality, and all inventory not actually in process. Just in time exposes inventory as the worst form of waste because it hides bad quality, inefficiencies, and other problems in our businesses. In a just-in-time environment, inventory is considered the root of all evil and is the key measure of a business's overall quality and productivity. One of the highly visible signs that we are making progress implementing just-in-time concepts is how much progress are we making lowering our inventories. Just-in-time focuses on eliminating waste and lowering inventories, not only because waste adds cost without adding value, but also because waste inhibits our ability to achieve speed in our work processes. But it is very important to understand that it is not possible to suddenly wave a magic wand and achieve speed in our processes, eliminate waste, achieve low inventories, achieve perfect quality, and eliminate inspection. In fact, blindly deciding to eliminate inspection or cut inventories without the systematic, just-in-time process in place can lead to very serious consequences. We must first understand the just-in-time process before we can use it to begin improving quality and productivity. In a just-in-time environment, waste is eliminated through the one less item at a time process. The one less item at a time process is designed to continuously expose and prioritize problems in our businesses, focus everyone on thinking about solutions to the problems, and provide visual feedback on our progress. The just-in-time journey begins and progresses by learning how to economically reduce waste one less item at a time. The one less item at a time approach is absolutely critical to just-in-time understanding. To illustrate the one less at a time process, please envision a ship floating down a river. The ship represents your product or service. You are trying to move your product or service as quickly and efficiently as possible. Below the surface of the river are rocks. The rocks represent the problems you have in your business. The river's water level represents your inventory. As long as there is sufficient water in the river, you will not see the rocks or those problems. But the rocks are slowing you down, even though you can't see them, by slowing down the flow of the river. To speed up the flow of the river, you must lower the water level to first expose the rocks and then eliminate them. As the problems are exposed, we begin the process of solving them and eliminating them one by one. So as we lower the water level, or the inventory, and as we remove the rocks and solve the problems, we are systematically exposing and prioritizing the wasteful constraints in our businesses. We are increasing our ability to respond to change. We are energizing everyone in the company to think about solutions to problems. And as we lower the water level, or that inventory, we are providing clear visual feedback on our progress. I fully realize that some of you are thinking, but we have always worked to eliminate waste in our businesses. Good employees have always tried to solve problems. But performing just in time is not simply going out and solving any problems we choose. The one less at a time process exposes problems, prioritizes them, and forces everyone to think about solutions to the problems. I agree, we most certainly can eliminate waste without the just-in-time, one less at a time approach, but without the just-in-time, one less item at a time approach, we are missing the systematic, continuous driver that is key to our long-term success. The one less item at a time approach is what makes just-in-time thinking unique. We know that numerous opportunities for improvement exist. Unfortunately, many times we fail to recognize them because they have become part of the everyday routine. We often learn to live with problems rather than eliminating them. The power of just-in-time lies in its ability to expose and prioritize problems and force communications to eliminate them. It is an effective process, whether your product is electrical, mechanical, or chemical, whether you are in a production or an office environment. Many people have asked me, what is the difference between just-in-time and total quality management? The two concepts are linked very closely together and cannot be separated. Total quality management is an essential partner in the real-life application of just-in-time. Think of just-in-time and total quality management as two sides of the same coin. Just-in-time gives us a process to expose problems and forces us to do something about them. Total quality management gives us problem-solving techniques to understand the root cause of the problems and eliminate them. Like just-in-time, Total quality management is a philosophy aimed at increasing customer satisfaction. We all know that a customer is someone external to your company that purchases your products. But total quality management has made us aware that a customer is also anyone who uses the output of a process. From a total quality management perspective, a customer is the next person in a series of process steps, such as the next department or person that makes use of your output. Total quality management views everyone in the business as part of a network of customer-supplier links. Despite an almost excessive amount of literature and talk about it, total quality management teaches us effectively techniques to aid us in getting past the superficial aspects of a problem, down to the root cause of a problem. Bottom line, it is absolutely impossible to implement just-in-time without total quality management. There is no reason to begin a process that exposes problems if we do not have a process in place that can deal with the problems as they are exposed and then eliminate them. Total quality management is the process that we will use to understand the cause of our problems and eliminate them. Total quality management can be introduced without just-in-time, but when just-in-time and total quality management are implemented together, the sum of the power of both of these processes is greater than their individual parts. Without the just-in-time, one less at a time approach, we are not likely to get as far or travel as fast in our total quality management journey. This brings me to another key phase in the just-in-time definition: respect for people. Just-in-time success is dependent on people, and it requires all levels of the organization to become involved. As we expose problems, just-in-time stimulates everyone to think about solutions to the problems. It demands and applies the often neglected talents of those most closely involved in the process, the workers. Over the years, we have done a poor job of using our people's minds. We have hired a lot of hands, but we have rarely asked them to use their heads. As problems are exposed, we need to tap into the knowledge of those who on a daily basis are closest to the actual work and see the detailed problems firsthand. Therefore, it is absolutely critical that managers include all workers in the problem-solving process. We must learn to let the people closest to the work get involved. They are the experts at what they do. We must respect and trust our people's abilities. We must develop their problem-solving skills and mobilize the creative energies of all our employees to solve problems. We must develop a workforce that is capable, trained, and flexible. We cannot have an environment where people are stuck in narrow job definitions. We must have an environment where everyone is free and willing to pitch in where needed. To achieve a broadly skilled workforce, leaders must give workers the authority and the responsibility to effectively do their jobs. Leaders must continue to coach and develop workers' skills toward becoming self-sufficient. Continue to give workers assignments which expand their skills. Encourage workers to arrive at their own solutions to problems. Trust workers to get the job done without a lot of excessive checking on performance. Just-in-time demands that everyone becomes a thinking worker. A thinking worker at all levels is a worker that truly participates in the business. A thinking worker is involved in planning, problem solving, and decision making, tasks traditionally considered more appropriate for executives and managers. This is quite a different attitude from the hired hand mentality of the past. In a just-in-time environment, it is not acceptable to say, "It is not my job," or "It is not my problem." When we discover a problem, We must empower the people closest to the problem to act on it. Empowerment means delegating and trusting decision-making to all those involved in the different work processes within the organization. As we develop thinking workers, we need to be open, honest, and share information about the business with them. All in the business should understand how are we doing by sharing information such as revenues, profits, return on investment, and market share. Everyone should understand the business's competitive strategy, the business objectives, priorities, issues, and critical success factors. Thinking of the workforce as an asset that has the potential to appreciate must climb to the top of our business agendas. We must realize that the workers closest to the job are the experts at the job being performed, and they are most likely the best qualified to resolve the problems encountered. We must realize our workers have brains, and companies that involve their entire workforce in the just-in-time process will realize benefits beyond their wildest dreams. We must invest in our people. Always remember, people are the only asset in a business that has the potential to appreciate, to become more valuable with time. Every other asset in a business depreciates over time. People must be trained to use problem-solving skills, given time to learn them, and then empowered to solve problems and make decisions at their workplaces. Continuous improvement through manager-employee involvement in just-in-time programs is the main common denominator of all the great world-class firms. The last key phrase in our just-in-time definition ties it all together in my mind. We need to achieve speed in all of our work processes. Our ability to respond to customers can be measured by the speed which we can convert inputs into products and services that have value for our customers. Or put in much more simple terms, the speed in which we can convert a customer order into cash or other measured benefits. Just-in-time thinking helps drive us to achieve speed in all of our work processes. Work processes are usually associated with production lines, and there are certainly significant opportunities for gains to be made in all of our manufacturing processes. In fact, most of the gains and most of the just-in-time literature and practice has, to this point, been on production applications. But I believe there are even more significant gains to be made by applying just-in-time thinking to the non-production areas of our businesses, to our business and service processes. We need to learn to attack waste in business and service processes with the same intensity we have applied to attacks on production waste. I want to share a favorite example, one I used in my talk with you last year to illustrate the importance of this point. A major internationally recognized United States insurance company analyzed the time it took to process an insurance claim in its business. It found that on average it took 3 weeks to process a normal claim. Now, in the insurance business, this is not considered poor performance. In fact, this company's performance was considered very acceptable.